Evet. Oh, my computer is having the heck of its life. Time. Gotta fix something. Quick. Okay. Yes, sir. I'm all good to go. Could it be a little nerve-wracking, but I'm sure I can make it work. Again, that's gonna be quite a shift. I remember the last time I was doing these Pokemon randomizers, I was going for the Burnout 2 World Record. And so I was in a much different mental state for these Pokemon occurrences. Now I can probably do these. I can definitely do these in a much more like lax scenario, as I don't have that on my back. I still have jewels, but it's not me going around and just taking every single hour of my day and just wasting it on going for something that's purely by chance. There's just only one thing to consider for the Pokemon randomizers. Get ready to hear the battle music for like a grand majority of the things, because, well, that's how Pokemon is. I'm only complaining about this because I actually have over 200 hours in Crystal randomizers from when I was going for the Burnout 2 World Record. And so sometimes I would actually like get to a point where I either drastically lower the audio on my operating system and then turn it up in OBS to accompany what I'm doing, just so I could play much different music. Because this was around the time I was discovering internet radio I was discovering how to like get our internet radio station programs like run on my computer, rather using music players like AIMP. Just having it connect directly to the URL of the audio stream files and stuff. And then lo and behold, I was getting a hold of like several chiptune radio stations that I would listen to pretty damn often. Actually, most of my day, if it isn't me playing the jewels and stuff. And in the last few months, it's turned into listening to keygen music, which is a type of like vintage retro-ish music composed mostly for like activation software for pirating games and stuff. The music is what I'm there for. It's really sweet because the stuff I do get to listen to, I actually have an entire like raw tracker file collection of keygen music. Several hundred megabytes, but it's got like thousands of different tracks and stuff. And because of the nature and the small form factor in regards to the size of these files, yeah, you can have several thousands of these tracker files, and you won't even crack half a gigabyte. Where if you try to do that kind of thing with actual like audio files, like MP3, WAV, etc., you'd be looking at up to 10 gigabytes or so, or maybe less if you're really lucky. Who knows? And even better, a lot of these tracker musics will loop perfectly. Because then again, tracker files are really just a sequence of notes in a synthesizer to play. The perfect loop nature is why I love these so damn much, though. Like, you get one of those tracker files that do have a perfect loop with no like with like no extremely obvious to the ear way that the track is going to restart again. And just like that, you have yourself a way to just easily extend music for some like video of yours or whatever. Commodore 64 music, oh heck yes. Good taste. That's how I discovered like the music for stuff like Monty on the Run. Then there's that German, and then there's that other game with like a German only title that has Monty in it. Whole 6-minute compositions. And for a Commodore 64 game, any track over 2 minutes long is insane. Especially as back in the day, like around the time that Commodore 64 was coming around, anyone who had Atari 2600s or something, games would always last only a few minutes. They would be like, they would last anywhere from a minute to like 3 or 4 if you were extremely lucky or something. Having a game like Monty on the Run with a 6-minute main theme. Yeah. I don't know how to put that into words. More often than not, sometimes I'm listening to these keygen music tracks for all the music they'd have for like various like keygen installers and stuff. Because there's a whole collection of like, there's so many different like installer. There's so many like cracking groups that make music for various software. I was even listening to some when I wanted to just get a listen of some of these from like modern games, just listen to them on YouTube and stuff. one of these installer collections that I listen to is like the ones from group Reloaded. And, like the typical feel for these tracks is that they play in like they play in this like odd key. It's like just below. It's in like B key or something. It's in like B or something. I'm not sure how to specify because that's a thing in music I've kind of forgotten about. I'm not used to trying to immediately detect what key a song is like composed in or something. And for a lot of the ones from Reloaded, they all have this like very identical tempo and everything. Similar key, identical tempo. Varying length, of course. Some are around 1 minute and 30 seconds or so, and then there's a few 3-minute compositions. And even then, I've been listening to a lot of these tracker music pieces quite a bit, to the point where, like, I'm not sure how you pronounce the music program AIMP, but it actually tells me how many times I played a specific like track from the collection. And I guess at this point some of them have actually went into the hundreds. That's a telltale sign. Like pure enjoyment or something. Though more often than not I'm like listening to these as part of like background music in order to take care of some other stuff I'm going about. It's like I'll listen to it when drawing, sure. I'll listen to it whenever I'm just doing any like vocal work. If I just look at my like top 25, I'd already get an idea like which specific tracks I tend to listen to like hours on end. And then there's unfortunate cases where I leave a track just running overnight without realizing. So then that inflates the play count a little bit. Even then, I still listen to the tracks quite a bit. So at that stage, it's only slightly adding to the totals. And those aren't the numbers I really want to care about. It's just more mentioning, hey, I tend to listen to these tracks for like this style of music. It's usually ones that perfectly loop, as I mentioned before. To an extent. I'm surprised a lot of the longer ones loop as well. like the Monty music. Good example. Yeah, whenever you listen to radio stations, there's always the occasional different track they use. Which particular Commodore 64 radio station is this? Because the one I have added to my AIM radio playlist is SID station. And especially make note of that because while it doesn't have while it does not have those occasional music cuts to tell you to listen to a radio station, and it starts with a bit of a thing that was actually in a piece of music for one of the Mission Impossible games, which if I can try to repeat verbatim what it says. It's like, welcome to the SID station. A new visitor. Stay a while. Stay forever. And then it starts the actual stuff you want to listen to. But then going back onto perfect loops and these tracker programs, the perfect looping is only really a thing I notice when it comes to having the local files on my drive. If you're listening to an online radio station, obviously it's gonna switch things up. C64 radio. Sometimes you get the occasional demo scene track on those stations, and it's interesting to hear stuff not explicitly from a video game. A lot of the demo scene stuff didn't hear, especially on classic video game radio. Fan remixes of existing tracks. sometimes you get to hear a lot of the particular music tracks composed for like loaders on like Commodore 64, because I'm sure you're familiar with them to like some extent. So I'm actually just assuming. And considering Commodore 64s would have to be would just load games more often than not from anything from floppies to literal cassettes and stuff. And that's gonna take plenty of time to load up a lot of data off of a simple cassette tape just to get your game to actually boot. So more often than not, they play these particular tunes they got composed in order to help pass the time. The ones I hear the most are ones from Ocean. And then there's like other ones that other companies will make, or even like, or in some cases like with Martin Galway, like the composers themselves will also compose a loader track. Alright, yeah, probably I should not assume. There's some Commodore 64 ports of like arcade games that end up like using an entirely different style of like music. For example, Ghosts and Goblins. As that one was composed by Tim Follin. Then you have Arkanoid, which like the NES game, and I'm pretty sure the original arcade cabinets for Arkanoid never had music, at least during active gameplay. So for the Commodore 64 port, comes in Martin Galway. And then there's Grisor, which is that one arcade game where like you're moving a ship around an entire like circular axis. Entirely different style of music, and even down to like everything about the music between the arcade and Commodore 64 version of Grisor is so different. Nothing about them matches. Yep, Tim and Jeff. What a duo. Dude just knew how to make music that would completely shock anyone who was not ready for it. I think one of the better examples of his like shocking music is the NES Solstice game. You get this very typical adventure-sounding music that you'd expect from a late 80s NES game. And then suddenly, BAM! You just get hit with crazy arpeggios and solos and oh fuck. The stuff he composed for Pictionary even more so, because it's just it's like the copy of Silly Mimo see in YouTube comments, like when it comes to some of Tim Fallen's most well-known NES compositions outside of Silver Surfer. It's just Pictionary, Tim! Treasure Masters is another sick playlist of his. There's some other games that some wouldn't think that he was the one who composed music for. The NES port of New Zealand Story. And it's funny in some cases to know that while there are a bunch of games, a bunch of really well liked NES games that he had composed music for, and then there's ones like Silver Surfer that I guess are not really that great. I mean, AVGN summarized that up years ago. Then you got Treasure Master, a game that was mostly designed for a contest that went on at the time. You got Pictionary, again, it's just a board game. And he was just pulling all the stops. If I'm using that phrase correctly. What? Co-composed for Ford Racing 2 and 3. Oh, I have never heard of these games. Wait, there are racing games based on the Ford car brand? And I got nothing to say. Probably as I expected. Something I think about. He's composed for seemingly random NES games that would happen to not do so well. And then there's just stuff that probably be close to like bottom of the barrel. Yeah, the game quality can, like, the quality of the games themselves sometimes not that great. So many of these old games still get mentioned just if they happen to have some insanely good composers. Like you have the Amiga and Commodore ports of Ghouls and Ghosts. And then there's stuff that like Tim worked on for SNES games. Flock being no exception. Dude even composed for like a random Super Nintendo port of the game Super Off-Road Racing or whatever it was. Supernova! I saw that first row, saw the 3 greens, and I saw a space and then 2 more greens, and I half expected something to come out of it. Well, maybe. Maybe somewhat. Play that back. Welcome back, Supernova, my beloved. Okay, you're at the very top of the board. Let's get you all the way down to the floor. Slowly and surely. Slowly and surely. Wait, no! I failed. That's like world record for fastest supernova I've let go. I'm expecting at some point during this entire visual run that I might get a supernova that gets created and then immediately gets detonated in the same move. So then I don't even get enough time to say supernova before I just start Ay. Oh. Well, that's unfortunate. Not the move I just pulled, though. Yeah. Another one. In this case, I'd like to ask a pretty curious question in terms of the amount, the amount of music that he's composed. How much of his music happened to be composed for decent games or better? Platform doesn't matter. For what games? Any platform. Because if I restricted the question to just NES games, it'd be a lot more difficult. But then, while this allows for so many more options, it gives much more leniency in like more easily picking out games that have decent user reception. Just gonna type something to. Let's see. Okay. I almost forgot about Echo the Dolphin. Thank you for reminding me. Listen to the video game music stations let me especially learn about a lot of stuff like this. That was a Dreamcast game. At least the one that you mentioned. Like, the Dreamcast is like well after like a lot of the games that he had composed for, so it's just so unexpected to hear that Tim Fallon was like composing stuff that sounded like perfect for movies or something. Not perfect, but ideal. I've yet to look at the Genesis Echo games as well. I know they got some pretty like dark stuff, but it's tough to look at. Oh dear. Okay, the games are much more dark than I heard in passing. Oh boy, it's gonna be one of those games. It just seems to me that that's like this one kind of thing about certain games that almost never gets mentioned unless you happen to be in the know and decide to bring it up. How many Genesis games have I gone to? Good question. Let's start with all the stuff that was on Sonic Mega Collection for the GameCube. The original Mega Collection. So, we've got the Genesis Sonic Trilogy, we've got 3D Blast, Dr. Bunk Beat Machine. That's one some may already know. I guess TriStar to a limited extent. I'm indifferent about Flicky. To be fair, I never actually had a Genesis growing up, as it just so happened that my family exclusively bought Nintendo games. So having Sega Genesis exposure only came around the time that I got into emulation and stuff. Yeah, I don't have enough built up in me. Yeah, unfortunately, that's most the. It's mostly Sonic games that fill the list of Genesis games I have played. In regards to games that I did play, not just like, oh, I heard about this. I have way too many hours on Sonic 3 and Knuckles, though. If Sonic Mega Collection ever told me like how much time I had spent playing some of the games in any shape or form, I'm pretty sure that would have beat out I'm pretty sure it would have close to beating out my Kirby's Epic Yarn playtime, or Sonic Adventure DX if I want to really challenge the notion. Because the grand majority of it was solely messing around with debug mode and just trying to trigger a whole bunch of crazy shit with debug in particular. Such as wrong warping into blue spheres. Or triggering buffer overflow crashes and stuff. Or forcing the game into regular Sonic and Knuckles. Because, yeah, that's something you could do. Still works out. I already have so much of a memory of those games as those. Because, like a lot of kids, when it came to Sonic 1, I never got past Labyrinth Zone without having to level select my way into Starlight. So it was I was 11 or 12 at the point where I was seeing that I could beat the game segmented So I skip out Labyrinth 3. So I skip out like Labyrinth 3 specifically. And just like that, I would be able to complete the game. It's just a matter of getting out of Labyrinth, and then the immediate mood swing from Starlight just makes it so satisfying to have finally conquered pretty much the worst obstacle in the entire game. And then you're just hoping you can pull out successfully. Then Scrap Brain's gonna kick the shit out of you if you're not ready. That was one of your first? Mine was some Nintendo DS game about dog simulation. But my first Genesis game that I can recall was most definitely Dr. Bonk's Mean Bean Machine. Among Sonic 1. And the rest of the games that were on that Mega Collection disc. Back then, when it came to just accomplishing stuff in Genesis games, I'd be lucky if I could even get through like the first few opponents on easy difficulty in Mean Bean Machine. Because I'm 6 and I'm just like figuring out that there are like different genres of video games and stuff, and I'm just barely getting into video games as a whole. Like how are you gonna expect the completely like uneducated person of any like age or background to be able to handle like going through even a quarter of that game? And I remember like when I was 7 years old, I could only get to like stage 3 at best. And then here I am at 9 years old, I'm able to complete hardest difficulty without dying once. Not consistently, but I have done it. I remember actually logging in like a personal like notebook I had forever ago. I would actually go and list down like a lot of things, like the time bonuses from completing stages, and then like my progression towards being able to complete the game on hardest without dying once, which in the arcade community that's called a 1cc or 1 credit clear. Boy, that was one hell of a thing to go on about. Columns. Cool. Flash mode was a very interesting spin. Because then the game basically becomes an excavation. Dig down to the flashing jewel and win. Thinking, do I want to launch it now? Yep. Not yet. Bean beans. The title is goofy to think about nowadays. As back then I had this like perpetual thinking in a literal sense. Because I was not taught about stuff early enough, but because it's like, what if the beans were actually mean? And like, what would the game be like if the name of the title was the game instead of getting a pretty nicely rebranded Puyo Puyo. I mean, a rebrand the point that most of the characters in the game never showed up after that game released. I still at some point want to try and just watch through the original Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog episode so I can get an idea how the characters' personalities were gonna be like from that one episode. Again, there's only 3 robot masters from the pilot episode that managed to survive the very first episode. And that's the 3 you would get to literally see in every single episode afterwards. Coconut, Scratch, and Grounder. None of the other robots survived, which is stupid. Like, can you imagine if you had the rest of the cast? You got Davy Sprocket, you got Spike, you got Arms. Oh, that's silly. Well, on a technicality, if you said this in the future, you'd be right. But that's besides the point. Oh, that project is probably the only, like, good that Sonic 06 is gonna get. That's the only way that game is gonna be good. Yeah, the mod is natively PC. Just make sure your graphics card supports Vulkan, and you'll just be able to run stuff on it. You'll be able to run the Xenia. Sonic 06 is... Ugh. I've watched AVGN's review, I've watched Game Grumps try to play it. I gotta check something here. Okay. There's one odd thing about like the design of one of the stages in the game in terms of Sonic's like story that always confused me from when I saw it in AVGN's review. There's this sand level where you're carrying Elise. You have to hold one of the shoulder buttons to activate this aura that lets you step across like halves of sand. And if you try to walk across them without holding the button, you instantly fall through the sand. And I'm thinking, like, shouldn't you naturally slowly sink in through the sand? Not just outright fall through it like it's a fake texture. Yeah, maybe it's very quick sync. And then there's that one mission where you have to find the captain. That one explains itself. Like that one's like one of the worst designed missions in the game, I'm pretty sure. Because you talk to the captain to start the mission, then you get a loading screen. Y'all know how long that loading screen takes. And then you get a cutscene which starts the actual, like, where you actually begin the mission. And then I'm pretty sure you get another loading screen, and then you're off to find the captain. But really, all you have to do is just talk to him a few times and bam, mission complete. Because I'm pretty sure the nerds summarized it well enough. It just treats you like idiots. Because it just goes like this: talk to the guy you start the mission with again, say that you found the captain. And then he tells you, guess what, I am the captain. And there you go, mission complete. It's just, what? Like, what? What kind of sense does that make? The poor kids that must have gotten this game for like Christmas at that time, considering how, like, even disregarding how rushed the game was. Like, just imagine all the unsuspecting people just going around the entire like hub, trying to figure out who the captain is. They go through so much. They go through so much of a loop, not finding anything helping in this godforsaken quest. And then, guess what? I'm the captain. You just see the absolute rage some of these people are immediately going to be left in. That one's dumb. Yeah, the rest of the game wasn't so bad that it could fit, but you know what also doesn't help that particular mission in the game? If I don't have this fully remembered, but if I was correct, that is a mandatory mission in Sonic's story. If the objective wasn't mandatory, then I guess it would leverage some of the eventual frustration because then you'd be like, you didn't have to go out of your way to do this. Then again, you'd wonder what actually created the whole joke of find the captain. Shouldn't have been so odd. Oh, hey Epsos. So many parts of the Sonic 06 story could have been much better. And even fixing the stuff for some of the other characters you get to play as like brief segments. The Tails and Knuckles segments are like questionable quality. There's that one infamous Knuckles mission, and then there's some of the Tails segments where you suddenly swap the Tails out of nowhere, and before you know it, you're already walking into an endless pit and just losing one of your lives. Hey, thinking about playing Pokemon Randomizer tonight. Try and get myself back into that. Gotta give myself some things to juggle around while still managing my personal sillies. Which generation? Pokemon Crystal, so Generation 2. That's fine. You'll get to learn a little bit of it as I get ready to actually try playing that again. I've got some experience with randomizing Gen 2. In fact, it's like the only generation I will actually play randomizers for because it's not only decent length, but there's so much quality of life that makes it even faster and more bearable. Saving is instant, for instance. Experience gain is doubled by default. At least for the particular like randomizer settings I use, experience gain is doubled. More Generation 4 introductions. Nice. Yes, I do. Like playing these randomizers are so fun in the way of like just seeing how your journey to get all the badges to go fight the final trainer is. Especially in Pokemon Crystal, because you need to get 16 badges and everything. But I was not paying attention. That is sick. 130,600. I saw all those 7,000s pop up, and I'm like, okay, maybe I should look at the side, see what's going on with the score. I still remember trying to play through most of Pokemon Crystal on a dead battery. Because all my Pokemon cards at this point are long past recovery with their original batteries, and I don't have any knowledge in replacing stuff, so Or actually, wait. No, on a dead battery, you wouldn't be able to completely finish Pokemon Crystal or Generation 2 at all because you have to go through the Hall of Fame sequence, which means the game has to save, and then you get to go back in your save file. And oh my god, it doesn't tell you that the save file is. Oh fuck! I just realized. Oh no. When my cartridges still had a working battery, I remember going up to like just after Whitney's gym at best. And that's only the 3rd gym in the game. Why do I have so many blue flames? Alright, blue time, let's go. Oh, another one of these. That is a stupid name! Oh my god. That's probably the worst name I've seen yet. Oh no. Oh, that is even more akin to some of the stuff you'd find on like dark web or whatever. This spell lines up stuff you'd find on generic find stuff sites. Christ. Oh, fucking wonderful. I should look at every one of my screenshots of these spam bots and like and see if like their timestamps like coincide. Probably not, but it's worth looking into at some point. Because when I used to do Burnout 2 streams, I would rarely but occasionally get these. Actually, I'm just gonna save that potential thought of that spam bot's name for a collection of weirder things next month. Alright, I've got the purple pears surrounded. Yuki. So, fruits. Here we go. One by one they go. All my fruits are gone. Zen beam. Oh! Really, I had a lightning jump ready. because of that I'm gonna unpair your fruit. There we go, Giga Speed finish. Alright. Y'all ready? Dogs, I was not asking for you. I was not asking for my dogs. No. This is not what I meant! No. Anyway. Let's start transitioning over. So, I need to open up several programs at once.